Yeah, so about 90 minutes, right?
Until we start?
No, we've started. We've already started.
Wait, we started?
I hit the.
Are we recording?
We are.
Oh,
amazing. We should start that way every week.
No,
we recording? Yes,
we need
are.
to be more professional than that.
No, we don't.
It's a recorded event.
So anyway, as I was saying, John Travolta's sitting there at the dinner table, and his dad's like slapping him on the top of the head. And he's like, "Don't touch my hair, man. I worked a long time on my hair."
Isn't that like Saturday Night Fever?
Anyway, I've never seen the whole thing, so
I finally saw that movie for the first time like last year.
Yeah, I think I watched part of it. It was on New Year's Eve or something.
It was. There's a few things that just don't hold up, but other than that,
it was a different time.
Wait, you're trying to tell me John Travolta doesn't hold up?
Man, well, he keeps coming back.
He does.
Well, he finally
got lives, right?
He finally got rid of the wig.
Yeah. Or did he?
Yeah.
And aren't they making a new Face Off with Cage?
They're making a sequel with both of them, I think.
That is crazy. You know what movie I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I think I saw it at
switch
the Roxy
identities
Theater
or something.
across the street. I'm pretty sure
For
I did.
$1.50?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And that's a John Woo movie.
Yeah, it is. It is, absolutely.
One of his first in the U.S.
Yeah. First movie in the U.S., and he got Travolta and Nicolas Cage.
Who were huge at the time.
Nick Cage, I guess Nick Cage was huge at that point.
Yeah, it was after The Rock and Con Air, two of them.
And the guy's, he's been nonstop.
Yeah.
Nonstop.
Yeah. Anybody seen the new Nick Cage movie where it's...
he plays himself.
He plays himself.
I haven't. It looks great.
I haven't seen it, but it looks amazing,
I might watch it this weekend.
I do know that Pedro Pascal tried to talk him into being a part of season 3 of The Mandalorian during that. He's like, no, I'm a Star Trek fan.
He's a Star Trek guy. Give me Kirk and Spock. I don't want nothing
a dude doesn't worry about his next paycheck when he's like, no, I don't need that awesome paycheck from one of the most popular television series ever.
How much would Disney pay him for like a 15-minute scene stealing?
I think he's got a minimum that's pretty good.
Yeah,
I bet he does.
Yeah, well, the only other thing he's come up in the news about lately, other than that, is that he's not returning for the next Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, because he was Spider-Man Noir.
He was.
Yeah. Why is he not? Doesn't want to do it?
I don't know.
He's a big comic book guy. Well, no, he's a big comic book guy.
And that's a great job. Everybody loved that character.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was one of the best parts of that movie. And that movie was great all the way around.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the sequel, honestly.
Very much.
It's one of the ones I'm looking forward to this year or next year. I can't remember when it's coming out.
You know what we should do? We should say, hi, everybody. We are Our Town Podcast Extraordinaire.
Yes, extraordinaire.
And we are coming...
Extraordinaire? Is that what you said?
What did I say?
You said Dick Extraordinaire.
I mean, if the shoe fits,
now
right?
Now word, TM.
if the jock strap fits. We are Our Town Podcast, coming to you from the historic Renton Civic Theatre here in beautiful downtown Renton.
Right on 3rd Avenue.
Yeah. What's going on, guys?
Same old stuff, different day.
I haven't seen you for like a week, so
it's been forever, man. It
feels like a week.
The tubes when I was watching the show. Man.
Yeah.
Like a deja vu.
I need to actually go back and look and see how well the last week's episode did, because that was the first video upload on Spotify. So
that's right. When I went to Spotify and I watched it, the video popped up, and I was like, what?
So that's a link to...
I don't know. Is that link, or does it just...
I mean, it's, if you open up the podcast in Spotify, that episode, when you hit play, will load the video.
Jeez, that's great.
All right.
Did you hear that, everybody? Did you hear that?
I mean, you can still go to YouTube and watch it if you'd rather, but, for those who haven't been watching on YouTube, they can see what they see over on YouTube.
Yeah, and by the way, we're on the YouTubes. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcast. We are on...
iHeartRadio and...
what's the new one you just dropped us into?
I forgot what it was already. Pandora. That's what it was. Pandora and Stitcher.
There's no excuse.
If you can't find us, you're not trying.
Yeah.
The easiest way to find us is just to go to the website, and then there's links to everything there.
r-townpodcast.com or ourtownpod.com will get you there as well.
Yep.
All right. So, hey, everybody. It is Wednesday, January 25th, I believe.
Yes, the 25th, yeah.
And like we said, we're here in Renton doing a podcast. And what do you think, guys? Should we just jump into some news that happened this past week?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Do it. I ran across a freaky story, but nothing puts me past anti-vaxxers.
Man,
nothing
so exhausting.
So exhausting. So a lot of people die suddenly. It's just a fact of life. Everybody dies, right? But anti-vaxxers and QAnon people are saying it's because the person that died received the vaccine, and that's why they've died suddenly. Right?
And not even as a correlation, but as a causality.
As a causality, right?
Have you seen that video of the woman showing her tremors because of her shot?
Oh my goodness, no, I haven't seen this. Is it kind of like a Jesus, take me tremors?
Yeah, exactly. And what's funny is
she starts speaking in tongues.
That's the only thing she didn't do. But there's it shows her like trying to get out of the bathroom, and she's all acting like she's got Parkinson's or something. Those kind of tremors, and like the extreme ones. And then there's a video of her drinking coffee, and she's doing this.
If you've got Parkinson's symptoms, it might be because you have Parkinson's.
Sure, and there are neurological.
Yeah, there's
other neurological things that can cause those tremors.
Lots and lots, actually.
But honestly, I think if she's not faking it, it's not going to be the vaccine. She's probably got Parkinson's.
Well, and the fact of the matter is nothing is completely hazard free.
Right.
That's just how. The chance of a penguin murdering you in your sleep is very improbable, but never zero.
Exactly.
It's just not possible for it to be zero, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is my dad had Parkinson's, so another thing that is a symptom of Parkinson's is dementia and seeing and hearing things that are not there. Yeah. So if they're thinking that it's the shot that is killing them, it could be part of the dementia.
Yeah, absolutely. And the flip side of this also is that non-vaccine people are blaming vaccinated recipients for making them sick and killing them.
What?
Basically, if me as a vaccinated person came into contact with Joe Blow that never got it.
Protein.
Exactly. So, one of the famous ones recently is, I don't know if you remember these gals, Silk and Diamond, or Diamond and Silk.
I had never heard of them before this whole thing with them.
Oh, with the funeral and stuff?
Yeah, I've never.
Well, I think it was Diamond that passed away. So these two gals were big Trump supporters. And
that's probably why I didn't know who they were.
African-American women. So that's why Trump sort of brought them into his inner circle and allowed them to sort of pimp for him.
Yeah. So he's like, see, I have black friends.
Yeah, it is kind of one of those things. But they were the hardcore Trump fans. Well, Diamond just passed away, and at the funeral, it was intimated that possibly she died from the vaccine, or possibly she died because she came in with contact with somebody that had been vaccinated, or one of these things. And it's like, okay, well, show us the autopsy report, right? Turns out the woman died of heart failure, which is a very common thing. I think the number one killer
heart disease.
Yeah.
For a minute there, COVID was beaten.
Right. Yeah. Until we all got vaccinated, right? Or most of us got vaccinated, right?
And the strain this strain isn't as deadly, right?
Right.
And that's why it can transfer to more people and not burn itself.
Yeah.
And because of the non-vaccinated people, the I think it's because of the non-vaccinated people that it's mutated, right? Because they got it, and
because there's more
transmitting it to people.
Maybe.
I guess that's kind of the more times it replicates, the more times.
Yeah.
Just mathematically speaking, right? The more times it goes through its life cycle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's just how that works.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Is there any time in history that somebody who had gotten vaccinated passed something? And I don't mean the disease they were being inoculated for.
But something else.
But yeah, what exactly is an inoculated person passing to?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe
they're not passing anything because you have to re-up on those things every year.
Well, and also isn't the vaccine that we received, isn't that like simulated RNA of the virus?
I don't know those specifics.
And not the actual virus?
Yeah, it's a simulated thing.
It depends on which one you got. Actually,
that's true,
right?
yeah.
But the Moderna and the Pfizer, yes, are both those mRNA. So it's just something that you can manipulate those ingredients.
It mimics.
So that
So it mimics the virus.
Actually
so
using
your body,
a live culture.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
A dummied up live culture.
So it's not like I can take that mRNA and
throw it at somebody in the room.
You.
No,
isn't that?
And again, I'm not an expert on this, but just look at the evidence.
Yeah.
Isn't that when people go onto YouTube and TikTok and do this when they're talking really quiet to their microphone? I'm gonna crunch some crackers now. Stroke my microphone. Yeah.
Perfectly normal. Perfectly healthy.
And that's just one of the services we perform here on our town podcast.
But one of the beautiful and terrifying things of being a human is we can look at the clouds. We can look at the night sky and create shapes, right? Because we've got imagination. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that also can feed into, I want to prove my point, right? So I'm going to kind of reverse
the whole, if it
science.
Looks like a duck's.
Right? It's like opposite science. Where
man is always sort of trying to find something familiar in the unfamiliar.
It's pattern recognition is what it is. They're seeing a pattern in something that isn't there, but they still see it as a thing, like seeing turtles in the sky or pigs or whatever.
Oh, I see turtles.
Or what was it last week?
I see turtles everywhere.
I love turtles. But there was also was it last week that there was in Turkey a cloud appeared in the sky that people were. Did you see that?
The one that kind of looked like a vagina.
Looked like a giant vagina. And it's like, hey, they found it.
Yeah.
They found it. The clitoris has been found. It's over in the skies of Turkey.
It reminded me of the movie Nope.
Yeah.
Everybody seen Nope?
Oh, dude, that's such a good movie.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Nope, see Nope.
Yeah,
it's on HBO Max, I believe.
Yeah, just because. I don't want to give in.
Don't give it away.
But there is a cloud. There's clouds in it.
Yeah, there's
the clouds.
Yeah. Well, there was another, and I can't remember his name off my top of my head, but there was a football player. I know you guys aren't sports ball guys, but for the Buffalo Bills that was on the field and had a massive heart attack during the game.
Yeah, no, a man in the top condition.
Right.
I mean, just
he was like in his 20s too, right?
Yeah, he's like 25, and you know he's a stud.
Right. But everybody's like, well, what vaccination did he get? I mean, immediately going to something like that.
Yeah,
Mike,
who was
I think it's been long enough. We probably could just say what the movie's about. I mean, if we can also give a spoiler alert. Hey, if you don't want to know, stop, go watch it, and then come back.
Well, in the end, Nope is what is it about? I think it's about overblown spectacle or something, but it's also one of the best monster movies in recent times.
It starts off looking like a UFO movie where people are being abducted, and it turns out that the UFO is a creature.
Yeah.
And then is eating people.
It's got some fantastic actors in it.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yes.
Great story.
David Keith plays the dad.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. Perfect.
He's an awesome guy.
Yeah, he really is.
Remember them from They Live?
I was just going to say, that's the only other live-action movie I've seen him in. Everything else.
Have you seen The Thing, the Kurt Russell?
Yeah.
I've never watched The Thing.
Oh, man. It's one of the best.
Oh, my God.
It's the best of the practical effects monster movies.
Yeah.
It's because that's who's the famous
and it's Kurt Russell. Prop guy was
Stan Winston.
Yeah, it's a Stan Winston joint. It's amazing.
Yeah.
No, if you like monster movies, and that's also a horror film more than just a monster movie.
It's more the suspense and the jump scares that make me not want to watch it because I've seen clips of it and I'm like, I don't need to see that. I've already watched.
I don't know about jump scares, but the idea behind it is that it can be anybody, so you can't trust anybody.
Well,
they're stuck in a
and
place.
The isolation.
It's awful all the way around.
It's who do you trust? All that stuff.
I think The Thing should get remade in the era of COVID. and have the monster be part of that.
And maybe not bad idea. But there was something about having it in the Antarctic, right?
Yeah.
Where just this sense of isolation and the ice and the snow all around you, and you just can't get anywhere.
Yeah, it's nearly a perfect film.
Yeah,
really. I think it's my favorite John Carpenter. The best thing is always difficult for me, but so am I. But I can say that I enjoyed it and why.
And Kurt Russell.
Kurt does a great.
Can't go wrong with Kurt Russell.
In that film does a great job.
Right.
They really. Wilford Brimley's in it.
Wilford Brimley's in it. Yeah,
he's the one.
Get you some oatmeal.
Hi, my name is Wilford Brimley, and I like to talk to you about diabetes.
Yeah, but on their hoopty computers, they're looking up if this gets back to a city, to civilization, how long will it take till the world's infected?
Wiped out, yeah.
It's like 27,000 hours until the entire planet is the thing.
Yeah.
And that always kind of stuck with me because that's not that long. It's not that long. That would suck.
Yeah. Anyway, Thing. Yeah, 1983.
I think 1 or 2. Yeah.
Early 80s. Either way. Again, it's one of those movies. I know there's lots of suspense to it and lots of like.
I just freak out on the spider head.
Yeah, no, it's gnarly.
It's gnarly, but it's great.
Yeah.
There was one movie I remember seeing in the 80s as a kid where like. There was like this, maybe it was a thing that they had multiple heads on it, and it was like this kind of blob of skin that had like heads coming out, almost like a squid.
Well, kind of. There's a little bit of that in there. There's a little bit of that in there. Yeah, I don't know. For practical effects, they do a great job.
Yeah,
they do. There was not
a
CG
board
to be found
of the Thing, which is actually really fun because you play with lots of people, and one of them is the Thing to start out with.
Oh,
so you don't know who to trust, right? So it's and they try to sabotage, and you have to move around. It
sounds like Sabotage, yeah.
Isn't
that the name of a game, Sabotage, where you?
Yeah, probably. I don't know
with the suspect or whatever.
Yeah, where everyone you have to figure out who it's kind of like Clue. You have to figure out who the killer is.
Yeah.
A
little more complicated than Clue, but similar.
Clue is a very basic game for people that don't play board games every day.
I would have done it with the wrench myself, but that's just me.
I still would love to have like a choose your own adventure version of the movie Clue, where you can choose how the characters do the next thing.
Huh.
A DVD game, even.
File that in the back and think about that.
Because I don't know why they haven't done it. You can do that with DVD movies, and you can do it with like.
I feel like there is a.
Example of it. Netflix has done it twice. Has had those types of movies.
What was the show that Netflix had the choose your own? It was a Black Mirror episode.
I couldn't do Black Mirror.
Oh, dude, I only watched one episode of Black Mirror, and that was
which one? The White Bear or whatever?
No, the one where the guy who had created his own universe inside of a computer and was kind of living in it. But he was turning the characters in the computer like people from the real world.
I don't remember that.
It was like a Star Trek-like show. I only watched it because it was kind of it kind of mimicked an episode of Star Trek.
My favorite one had
I think it was
Ron Howard's daughter. What's her name?
Bryce Dallas.
Bryce Dallas Howard. And she's in it, and the whole world is based around this social media, right?
Yeah.
And you have to, to get better discounts, to get let into restaurants, to get into whatever, get a better seat on an airplane, whatever. You want your social media profile to be really high, right? So you want those likes. But if you're sort of mean to somebody, or if you just have a bad moment and you're like,
I would go to jail.
Somebody cuts you off and you flip them off. They're like, oh, I know you, because they can see you on the thing and they can knock you down. So like you might get invited to a wedding to be a bridesmaid, but then your profile goes down and you're like, disinvited. It's a really funny commentary on the whole social media thing. And this was 3 or 4 years ago when it came out.
There was an episode of that show where it was like a reality show where it turned out it was like this. It was essentially this person's hell, and they were having to relive this thing over and over.
That was the White Bear one.
Okay,
I think. Yeah, the reality show where they get chased around and they don't have a memory of why they're there.
Right.
It's because I don't know, spoiler alert.
Okay, they're talking about fictional characters.
Wrong button.
Fictional.
Wrong button.
But this woman had perpetrated a very violent, vicious crime, like she had kidnapped a kid and killed the kid or something. So they forced her to relive this horrible day while people watched, and people would sit there with their phones and record, and they were kind of there. And she's like, "What the fuck is going on? I don't understand." But there's a bunch of actors, people are chasing her, which turn out to be actors. And then at the end, she ends up in front of the studio audience, and they're like, "You are a douchebag. You killed this person, and now you get to do this all over again." So she has to relive this every day.
And
for her
the other thing
punishment.
is she doesn't know why, but people are following her. The other people that are like around are people with their cell phones out recording.
That's what, yeah.
And they're like, "Why aren't you helping me? Help me with this. And this guy's chasing me. Why is he chasing me?"
Right. Yeah. People in masks that are chasing, but they're the actors, and then the studio audience gets to sort of participate and film it and all that stuff.
Live stream it or record it or whatever. Yeah.
Get their Insta rep.
So I found the Black Mirror episode is called the USS Callister, and it was basically this guy.
I do remember that one. Yeah. It's a very Star Trek.
Very themed, but you find out later he's like the characters within the game universe, I guess you could call it, were becoming self-aware and realizing that he was using real world people to play these characters in the game, and they were becoming self-aware and didn't want to do it anymore. It was really weird.
Yeah.
I'm self-aware and I don't want to.
No, I've only watched those two or three episodes. There was also the one where it was like Miley Cyrus, and she was like a pop singer or whatever, and there was like an AI doll. Or a thing, I don't know.
I like it. It's a good show.
It's a good show. It's on Netflix.
It's kind of an Outer Limits-y Twilight Zone. And I've always been a big fan of Twilight Zone.
I have too, but it's just the Golden Age stuff is psychologically impacting.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Just like the modern stuff is, but the modern stuff, I need to be removed from it a little. That's the cool thing, because black and white, you know what I mean? You're removed a little.
Right.
Did you guys ever watch the new version of the Twilight Zone with Jordan Peele as the producer?
I saw it from the first season. I watched a little bit of it,
The first season was basically retellings of the original episodes.
Really?
They revamped
I don't know that I would need that.
It was interesting. I enjoyed them, but they were similar enough that you recognize the episode, but it was different enough that it was like, what's going to happen next? I don't know. I'm going to have to continue watching. So,
okay.
But I only watched like the first season of it. I never got beyond like the first, I think, 6 episodes.
Okay. All right, yeah, but anyway, anti-vaxxers, can't live with them, can't throw them in the ocean.
Yeah.
You can't wall them off in Montana.
But I mean, for me, the larger question is, because we're talking about a highly communicable, deadly disease, because I'm not even going to play that it's not. It was not a fucking pandemic. It was not, because they would have wiped out mass people. Right? If a government is going to be so evil as to plant a fucking germ bomb or whatever, it's going to fuck shit up.
Right.
This was enough to where I'm like, well, let's
you want to bring society down, you're going to bring society
This is
down.
the worst this did was inconvenience people. It killed 1 million Americans, don't get me wrong. But
we didn't have martial law. We didn't have
all that nonsense.
Mass impersonation.
Just dumb. But where is the line between my freedom, right, and where I can say I don't want to have an inoculation, right? That is kind of my right. But also, it's a communicable disease. Mm-hmm. Right, so at some point we have to come to some kind of agreement on that, right? It's like if you're, knowingly carrying a germ onto a fucking subway.
I remember years ago, and I'd have to find the story again, there was a guy that had HIV, and he ran around and had sex with a bunch of women when he fully knew well that he had the HIV, right? And he gave all these like 6 or 8 women HIV, and they convicted him of, and I don't remember what the charge was, but some kind of assault or some kind of
something.
Probably murder, actually, because eventually they were eventually
nowadays better, but that's something you live with. For,
if it was back in the 80s or 90s, that was a death sentence.
It really was, and still does, just not in the U.S.
Right.
More prosperous countries don't have the death rate.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting question, though. And that's kind of, the last 3 years kind of brought me to that point is where do we, because all civilization's built on compromise, right? A red light means fucking stop, you know what I mean, et cetera. Or it would just be dumb.
Right. Yeah.
But what does that mean? At what point am I obligated to not spread a disease?
As a member of society, as a member of the collective, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's an open question, and it changes from subject to subject.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's a communicable, airborne fucking disease. I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to go,
a mask might be a good idea.
Yeah. You know what I mean? You walk out in the cold and you see the steam, right? Guess what that is? That's the vapor from your lungs, bro.
Yeah.
You know it exists.
Right.
You know it does.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, they don't because they don't believe a lot of that shit. And one of the other, and I think I've mentioned this before. One of the other podcasts I listen to every week is QAnon Anonymous, and they've talked a number of times about the anti-vaxxers, and because a lot of that's the same group of people. There's lots of crossover between both groups, and every time I listen to them, they have something new to talk about, and I'm like, do these people really believe this shit? I mean, it's almost as
it's an industry now.
Yeah.
It's because the outrage industry has been going for a while, right?
Yeah,
but
and it's
part of it.
Yeah, it's when you first listen to this stuff, you're like, this can't be fucking real. People really don't believe this. And the more you watch or listen, I still think that if you haven't seen the documentary series on HBO Max called Q Into the Storm, definitely watch it. You may have to. Those first couple episodes are kind of rough because they're talking to these people who actually believe this stuff, and you want to gouge your eyes out and plug your ears because they're really stupid. But if you can get past those first couple episodes, you start seeing other things. You're like, oh, okay, well, I can see why they think that, but at the same time, really, you're that gullible? I mean, flat earthers are in there too.
It's nuts. But hey, speaking of Trump and Diamond and Silk,
all right.
Sorry,
Trump actually went and did a eulogy at Diamond's funeral.
Oh, geez,
because how nice. But it was a 45-minute speech where he talked more about himself.
Oh, dude, yeah, he didn't say one word about her at all during a eulogy.
He did like 45-minute eulogy.
45-minute eulogy where he talked about him and his issues and inflation and stuff.
He treated it like one of his rallies. He didn't. He was at a wake for somebody who was a supporter of him, and he didn't once mention her name even.
I don't know about the name. I didn't watch the whole 45 minutes.
I watched the clip I saw was him talking about like Joe Biden and this, that, and the other, and the economy and da-da-da-da. Never once acknowledging that he was at a funeral.
Yeah. It seemed like a rally, and there was people in the audience that were clapping, and
I heard a couple people, "We love you, Trump."
Yeah,
at a funeral.
Quiet dignity.
And Mike the Pillow Guy was there. Mike Lindell?
Mike Lindell, yeah.
My Pillow Guy was there. He was all teared up. He's like, Jesus is up there and you're watching us.
Yeah, he's probably just rubbing an onion on his face.
I'm sure, but...
These tears are real, man.
45 minutes.
It's just bonkers.
He also might have been upset because he didn't have enough cocaine to last the whole day.
I heard somebody referred to him as a wet loaf of a human today, and I thought,
wet loaf.
My God,
soggy loaf of bread.
Description, right? Because the other thing he did was, at the time of the funeral, he was in the midst of a golf tournament down in Florida, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the golf tournament, he declared himself the winner. And I think that he either sponsored, it was one of his clubs or something. It's like, I won. But it turns out that he was gone for half of the tournament because he was 600 miles away at this funeral. But I won.
It's my tournament, therefore I won.
It's mine and I won.
The existence that they're pushing for, right?
Yeah.
Is that what they say is a fact, even when it's not a fact.
Right.
And I don't know if that's ego or hubris or just being a dick, but we need to, as a society, reject it.
Yeah.
Because we can't continue
that way.
It's just dumb.
Yeah, you can't have the alternate facts, right? Or the alternate
you really can't.
And beliefs.
You really can't.
Really
And beliefs, and that's kind of the cool thing about Constitution. It's big enough for all belief systems, but that's not the same as pretending facts aren't facts or things that aren't facts are facts.
And that's the problem with beliefs, right? Because beliefs go to faith and core values and all that. Problem is, those are harder to change. But if you have an idea. I stole this from Kevin Smith.
I was just going to say that. This sounds like Chris Rock's speech from Dogma.
But I got a good idea.
That's actually one of the things that kind of turned me away from religion, honestly, was that particular speech.
Geez. Well, Satan's giggling.
It made a lot of sense to me.
He's making plans for Todd's space.
It made a lot of sense to me at the time, because I was already kind of like, I didn't like, most religious things because it was very anti-human being, really. But then I heard that, I was like, organized religion in general I wasn't real pleased with, but it wasn't until my mom died that I really became an atheist. So,
well, speaking of that, there was an interesting study that I found that was published recently that reads that poor sleep habits is the reason that people experience paranormal activities, right? They have ghosts and demons and aliens, monsters in the closet and that kind of stuff.
Hag and the man with the hat.
Right. Slender Man and all that stuff. It's because we have such poor sleep habits that our brain is sort of already, not firing on all cylinders, that we can pick up on those odd things, and we have those weird, like, oh shit, did that door just move by itself or whatever, right?
Yeah,
that must have been a ghost.
You're half asleep.
Right. I believe the study was conducted by asking people what their sleep habits were and then asking them about their paranormal experiences and comparing the answers on both. So the ones that had the better sleep habits had less of the paranoia.
I've been on a 60-day meth binge.
How much sleep do you get every night, and do you partake in any kind of recreational substances?
Yeah. Are you guys paranormal believers? Are you aliens and ghosts? And I've experienced things, but that you said, like, the people with like poor sleep habits might explain a few of the things that I've experienced, but I've been in houses that were old as fuck, and just being in rooms that make your skin crawl for no reason other than you're just like, I walked into a room and all of a sudden the hair on the back of my neck went straight up. I'm like, okay, I need to go. Or places that just actually one of the places that did that was the old VA hospital up on Beacon Hill.
Oh, yeah, of course, right? Like hospitals in general. If there was going to be a hotbed,
that would be the place.
I think, well, the difference is old hospitals, not just hospitals, old hospitals, like ones that have been around a long fucking time. Sure. I remember going to a doctor's appointment there when I was a kid, and I said, do we have to go down this hallway? I'm getting some really kind of heebie-jeebie kind of thing going on here. Can we go a different route? And they're like, yeah, fine. I'm like, okay, cool. And then it was years later that I discovered that hospital was like the old VA, and they also used to house like the criminally insane people. So the place gave me some weird kind of vibes to it.
It's got like a double whammy of
right. And there's a crematorium down in the basement where they.
Jeez.
I worked in a crematorium for a day
with a monkey.
No,
is that where the monkey
I had to
was
run cable through the crematorium? It was Evergreen Washelli up on.
I know where that is. My grandpa used to work there.
Oh, my parent. What was your grandpa's name? Was it Alan? Was it?
No, Howard.
Okay. No.
Robinson.
Funny story. I walked in on a conversation, and my buddy Ed, who I was working with, was talking to one of the guys that worked there, and he was like maintenance and gardening and all that stuff.
That's what my grandpa did.
And as I walked into the conversation, Ed's like, "Yeah, I hope my family just digs a hole in the backyard, dumps me in, no fanfare." And Alan's like, "Not me. I want to be cremated, dropped into a douchebag, and run through one more time." And I'm like, and I just walked in. This was the conversation I walked in on. I'm like, okay, I gotta go. But I had to work down in the crematorium, right? I had to run this cable, and I was pulling along a wall, and all the friggin' conduits, the exposed conduits, had like a layer of dust on them that you had to touch.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But there was actually a body in a cardboard box waiting to its final candlelit dinner. And just my back to it, and I'm constantly, fuck, did that box just move? Did that lid just come off? I'm just not a fun place. But I don't think there is, because there's a ghost, it's just this irrational sort of fear of the unknown and the death.
I definitely like the paranormal stuff. I'll watch like Ancient Aliens just for the entertainment value of it. I rarely ever go, wow, man, that makes a lot of fucking sense. I'd never do that.
Oh no, aliens are real. I believe totally.
I legit do believe that aliens are real, because
I know.
We can't be the only life forms.
Sadly, we could be.
We could be.
But that would just suck, and that is so empty and minimalist.
Now, do I believe that aliens are responsible for the pyramids? No, I fucking don't.
Dana Gould has
cousin.
What was that?
My cousin built the pyramids.
Yeah,
my cousin,
distant cousin. No, Dana Gould has this funny bit, and I can't do it justice, but he talks about, if aliens are really real, they're the advanced technology because they got here before we got there, kind of thing, right?
Right.
But he says it's always some dumb fuck hillbilly in Arkansas that, gets kidnapped by aliens. It's never like a physicist from Norway. It's never like a mathematician from England or something. It's always some dumb fuck hillbilly.
Well, those are the ones you see on the news.
I got abducted and anally probed by aliens.
And they didn't even give me a reach around. But
in the vastness of space we have conquered, but it's the mysteriousness of the human anus that eludes us.
That's an odd phenomenon. I don't know. As far as the ghosts and the paranormal go, I'm agnostic about it, because existence is way more complicated than I could ever understand anyway. So if there's some weirdness coming out of the ninth dimension, who am I to say one way or the other until right?
Yeah,
because you can't disprove such a thing. It's like
I've experienced a lot of weird
discovered.
Right.
I've never actually seen anything move by a ghost, anything like that. But I've heard things when I've been in the only one in the house, like footsteps across the floor upstairs, kind of thing. I'm like, unless someone climbed up the side of the house and got upstairs.
Yeah, which just didn't happen, right? I hear shit like that often. Yeah. I don't know. But also, the human mind is triggering a bunch of electrical discharges. I mean, a bunch. All of the time. If a couple of them freak out and make me hear something that didn't really fucking happen, is that really so hard to believe?
Right.
That it just invented some nonsense? And, it's like...
Again, it goes back to that, trying to explain something that you can't explain, the human mind, right?
Your brain tries to rationalize the things you experience with things that make sense.
Yeah, because there's mind trying to make sense of brain, right?
Yeah.
Brain's doing its best to keep us fucking upright.
Right.
But mind is doing its best to fuck that mission.
Yeah. I think I'm with you, Mike. I'm sort of agnostic on this whole thing. I've never seen anything that would convince me that they're real.
I believe that. I definitely believe that spirits are a thing. I mean, I say I'm atheist, but that's mostly just religion. I believe that after you die, there's a possibility that your essence or spirit or whatever does kind of hang out for a bit of time before
essence
before it dissipates. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and not just that. I mean, your body's made up of electrical impulses, right? So, did that just die? Does the electrical impulses just go nowhere?
Does it go? The other thing is is there like a collective where it collects and gets redistributed to a different person that's not born yet, kind of later, kind of thing?
I don't know. All those are completely unanswerable questions. Yeah. So anybody
and the appendix, God, what the hell is up with the appendix?
Yeah.
God. Well, I bet it was groovy like 1.5 million years ago.
Right.
When we're eating
and exactly whose image was were we made in was because it clearly wasn't me.
Taco Bell. So totally
I'm pretty sure it wasn't in the image of Mike or Charles here.
Oh no, it's my image. Damn it.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe it was.
I don't want to poke fun of religion, because many religious humans have done some fantastic works. Many religious humans have done.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
So
it's not the religion that itself that does that. It's the people that are within that religion that are doing the amazing things. So I can't give credit to Catholicism for the good things that Catholics do, if they do anything. You know,
I kill you in the name of Jesus. No, I kill you in the name of Jesus.
Yeah, no, that kind of behavior is
the Crusades. Gotta love that shit. You know.
Yeah.
But I mean, religion is to humans like music is to humans. It's something we come up with no matter where we are, what time we are. Right? It's like we'll beat on a rock to make noise and patterns, right?
Right.
And we come up with some kind of
paint weird
fucking A, dude.
Case figures.
Bonkers. Yeah. And then we go, well, this started somehow that I can't really, quantify. So it was a turtle.
Flowers in the grave. Yeah, it's a turtle. It's goddamn turtles again.
It's a turtle.
I like turtles.
Well, speaking of Trump.
Oh.
Meanwhile, back at the podcast.
Trump.
This episode is a really good example of ADHD. Just you get one topic and it gets led into like 16 other things.
Podcast is like that. I mean, every week. Got to watch them all to find out. But did you see that Trump posed for a picture with a convicted Philadelphia mafia boss?
What?
Oh, geez,
yes. He's got a thumbs up picture with this guy. This guy was one of the heads of the Philadelphia mafia family. I don't pretend to know anything about him other than he spent 10 years behind bars, federal prison for racketeering. Right? I think the guy's name was, I have it written down, Merlino? Joey Merlino.
Yeah, that sounds like he's probably from Jersey or some shit. So
Trump people claim that, he can't be responsible. He doesn't know everybody. He poses for a lot of pictures, But at some point, don't you need a gatekeeper to say, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think so, but it doesn't matter. That guy could be like stabbing a kid and nobody would fucking
in the middle of Fifth Avenue?
Right?
He said so himself. I could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and no one would care.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's bonkers. Yeah. It's bonkers. And that's how you get Pharaoh, which I assure you is not a step forward for you. Right? Oh, God kings are worse. I promise. Yeah. Democracy is dumb and goofy and exhausting as it can be is way better. Yeah. Look at all the progress we have made. It's astounding. That didn't happen on accident. Look at how much progress we've made after desegregation. Right. And we got more minds, even though, never really even Stevens, right? But we've gotten so much shit done. Right, women in the workplace got mass shit done, mass forward movement. We got, and people
to a degree, but
you know what I mean? It's like way more. That's why the 20th century was successful,
right?
And we made it through 2 world wars. Right?
But I long for the days where I played in the sprinklers in the safety of my suburban home.
Well, sure.
Where Dad went off to work and Mom cooked a delicious, healthy meal for the family.
Yeah, and if it weren't for the Reaganites, that would still be happening.
Yeah.
That's actually true.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you want to choose that lifestyle, you should be able to. Right? God bless. Go for it, man.
Absolutely.
But
I totally agree with
the
Reaganites
won. Yeah. They brainwashed all these people into thinking that you don't have to put back into it. The government's the problem.
Yeah, I totally agree that depending on whatever parent it is, wife, husband, whatever, somebody should be home when the kids are home. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Totally agree with that. But if you can find a workaround, or they have Alice.
Yeah. They've got Benadryl. Benadryl and TV. America's favorite babysitter.
My teeth are clean. Shut up and watch more TV.
Watch that VHS from the early 90s of the TV shows that are like, okay.
I promise no more Trump talk, but they did find more classified documents, but this time at the house of Mike Pence.
Can we put a little clapper on every single classified fucking page from now on?
Something.
A QR code? They do for tiny products that are $1?
Depth last week. I know Mike railed, and it's a great rail. Watch last week's episode, but you
can get a lot of power out of 1 inch, I know that.
How that applies, I don't know, but I love it.
So I've been telling myself for years.
Yeah. Well, people, in the executive branch, evidently in particular, quit stealing our shit.
Yeah.
And but I haven't heard yet, and I'm a news junkie, but I obviously can't listen to every single thing going on. Right. But has anybody said, you know what we need to legislate that before somebody leaves the White House, the archivists go through their shit?
All of it.
Let's get Mikey. He likes it. Hey, Mikey.
I was scarred all through grade school. Thanks, Todd.
Isn't that the kid that died of coke and pop rocks?
He isn't the same guy.
That was the story. Is the kid from the Life commercial was the one who ate the pop rocks and coke.
It's soggy in like a millisecond.
Dude, it was the grossest.
You gotta eat that shit fast.
It was the grossest cereal ever.
The reverse grape nuts.
I love grape nuts.
Oh yeah, but they do not get soggy. You can't put them on the bottom of the space shuttle.
No, they do get soggy. They just have to be sitting there for an hour.
Yeah, they cake to the side.
So go, yeah.
Fuck you.
And you know what? Who has to do the dishes? Right? When that shit's caked on that and whatever they make Rice Krispies out of,
rice?
They should make that. They should make that into cement, material, right? Yeah. Housing material. Trying to get that off of plates is absolutely freaking ridiculous.
What has happened here?
Yes, man. It's puff rice. Todd, I got you. I get the joke. Thank you, Todd.
I'm sorry, I don't know why that made me laugh so hard.
But executive branch, bring our shit back.
Bring it back.
Bring it back. It's exhausting.
How hard is it?
Oh yeah. So I haven't listened to every single newscast ever. But how come nobody's talking about legislating rules for this? Not once have I heard that. Not once. Because that's their branch says, well, that branch can only do this. And then the judge branch says, yes, that's okay. No, that's not okay.
Yeah.
So I'm paraphrasing our three branches.
Somebody joked that there's a lot of shredders working overtime all over Congress people's houses tonight because of classified documents. I do not want to be the next one to get classified documents.
The fax machine or the copier that's sitting right on top of the shredder that as soon as it comes out, it goes right into the shredder. I saw a video of somebody doing that the other day. It's like, well, that's...
I saw that too. Yeah, the fax to the shredder.
It was like a copier was making a copy and then immediately fell into a shredder and just got shredded.
I totally need one of those. No, but and then they interview a guy like Ted Cruz, who's like a human piece of toast, right?
Wet bread.
He's a wet loaf.
Wet loaf.
He's just a slimy human being.
So he was getting interviewed by a conservative radio host today and asked about, Biden and the classified. Oh, we got to investigate, and we need people to go through Hunter Biden's house and his office space, and we need somebody to go through, Biden. I'm like, you know what? I'm all good with that, right? But tit for tat, right? So then he asked about their good friend Mike Pence. He's like, well, I know Mike Pence, and he's explained where these documents came from, so it's okay, I mean, no, let's fucking get these documents back.
Yeah, and treat everybody the same. It's
treat everybody
and eventually, we need to decide if we need to make this, because I don't think right now this is illegal. If it is illegal, then somebody needs to at least get fined, right? Well, nobody's going to get arrested, obviously.
If you and I had some kind of top secret clearance and took some classified documents home,
I don't know what the punishment. I really don't know. But I would like to think that there is some punishment, right? At least potentially, that would be hanging over your head,
right?
So, but they did. I mean, there's an independent,
There is a new special prosecutor. For both of them, for Trump and now we got to get another one from Pence,
and that's
maybe.
And that's great. There's like 1.5 million lawyers in the United States. We're not going to run out.
I just can't figure out why you couldn't have, for an executive level position like Secretary of State or Vice President or President, a secretary that has top secret clearance as well that could just follow him around and say, okay, Mr. President, this is the classified daily briefing. Go ahead and take a look. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, you're done with it for now. Let me just take that back and I'll put it in this secure location. When you need it, I will be happy to hand it back to you. How hard is that? Right? Why are they fucking taking it home?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
Know. It's weird. Because they're not taking it home to study it for the next day.
No.
This is stuff after they're leaving.
Yeah.
I'm puzzled by it. I really am. It's like, well, just throw because it's not that much shit. The White House is fucking tiny, man. Yeah. You're not moving 60 tractor trailers worth of
pallets
stuff.
Worth of papers.
Not.
Yeah. It doesn't look like the warehouse from Indiana Jones.
Yeah. The perpetual warehouse. house. No, it's not.
Hey, speaking of Indiana Jones, Todd published a blog today on our members-only side of the website.
Nice.
Yeah.
All about Indiana Jones and the names that he came up with for the new movie that's coming out.
This is before
later.
they announced the Dial of Destiny or whatever it's called. I was
Dial of Destiny?
I think that's what it's called. Yeah. So it was just at the time that I created this list. It was right after they announced the movie was being made, Indiana Jones 5, and at that time he was like 78 years old. I was like, and this is at the beginning of the pandemic, mind you. So me and my friend Shannon, were like sitting there thinking about like, what would we call this, geriatric Indiana Jones movie? And so we came up with that list of all the. Yeah, you should check it out.
Yeah. So speaking of that, we just opened up a members-only section of our website.
Yeah.
So if you go to r-town.podcast and you can actually sign up, it's relatively cheap, where we have some content that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah. By the way, you owe me $3.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
But there is bonus show stuff. There are some blogs up there.
Yeah.
There's my very own News of the World, where once a week I go through some funny news stories in about 5 or 10 minutes.
Stuff he doesn't give to the normal podcast.
I don't give it to the normal podcast. Pretty soon, I think Mike's going to be throwing down some interviews and some man on the street stuff. But yeah, whatever we can throw at you, I think there'll be some great content there.
And more and more and more content.
And more and more and more, yeah.
It's going to keep just expanding like the universe itself.
Yes.
Did you want me to give at least a couple of them from that list?
Oh, and Dirt makes a appearance on there.
Yeah, so some of the videos I've done with Derp that are no longer up on TikTok or Reels are now on.
You can check them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, I can pull that up real quick and give you at least a couple of the Indiana Jones.
The names, yeah. Don't give too many out.
I'm not going to give all of them
out. Pay for the content.
Yeah, does anybody know any of the plot points of the film?
They haven't given anything away.
I know that Shia LaBeouf
is not in it.
Not in it.
I think they're
yeah, I think I saw that.
I heard that they're retconning. They're going to retcon that movie with this one. So,
what was that 2008? That Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls. That's 15 friggin' years ago.
Is that really 15 years?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
So old man, grumpy old Harrison Ford is returning to his iconic role.
So I'll give you like 3 of the ones. There's a whole list of them here. So Indiana Jones and the Desperate Search for the Pens.
This is Harrison Ford. This Han Solo we're talking about here, baby.
Indiana Jones and the Crystal Bedside Commode. And Indiana Jones and the Quest for Cialis.
I may be even too old for Cialis. I don't know.
I heard that the old folks' home, that's where a lot of STDs get transmitted.
That's true. It's one of the hotbeds of STDs for sure. Yeah. I don't know, guys. That's what I got for news this week. Has anybody else got any other news stories that they came across they want to share?
Well, yeah. I listened to a report on... it began as the high price of eggs, right? Then avian flu, but really it's about profiteering. Like Tyson. Oh, yeah, it's awful. And bird flu is costing a lot of lives.
Yeah, I heard there was millions of birds that had to be destroyed in Iowa.
But a lot of that is not necessarily the virulent nature of the sickness. It's compounded and mostly because of the conditions, right? Of those massive factory farms.
Yeah. I was actually
backyard chickens.
Going north on I-5 today, and was right next to a big chicken truck. So when I say chicken truck, it's a big 18-wheeler, right? But it's just filled with cages and cages of live chickens. Oh my God, I did not need to see this, right? Because, I want the mystery to be a mystery, right?
I don't need to know what's behind the curtain.
Where the hell are they going in Seattle? Maybe there's a processing facility up north somewhere.
There is in Renton.
Is there? Is it still here?
It's the farms. It might be Foster Farms now. It was a Tyson thing, which I think they're all owned by Tyson. And that Brazilian guy for beef. I mean, it's bonkers. Tyson was $4 billion in profits last quarter.
That's crazy. Wow. And they're charging us whatever
because they set prices between. It's an interesting. I mean, we just as a species, but especially as Americans, need to look at our systems and just kind of. We don't need to throw the baby with the bathwater, but this is not sustainable. It really is. And the pandemic, with the supply chain hubbub, et cetera, kind of showed us weaknesses in that type of system. But our food system and energy systems also, but food system especially, is not sustainable.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's absolutely not.
It's like something it's not impossible for us to rectify.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about it.
Right.
Let alone looking for ways to rectify it.
No. Yeah, nobody.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. So.
Yeah, I mean, the gas prices go up. Food's like astronomical, right? Because with the eggs, it was the avian flu, it was the gas prices, the fuel prices to ship them to wherever, and it was the cost of materials for the containers that the eggs come in. This is what I was told. I didn't know the Tyson angle was.
Well, profit's not a bad word,
but
right?
Yeah,
profiteering is.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I wanted to talk about was one of the co-creators of Rick and Morty got himself into trouble recently.
I heard about this, and I'm not a Rick and Morty guy yet.
Oh, the show is really, really funny.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's hilarious. I was one of those. The animation looked ridiculous. I don't like that style of animation in general, but I reluctantly started watching it, and I immediately fell in love with it. But
it's like a Family Guy style animation.
It's similar, but it looks like the artwork looks like refrigerator art from a kindergartner. But the writing is really funny and the voice actors are hilarious. But because the co-creator is basically been kicked out of the show because of what he did.
Was he one of the artists?
He was the voice of Rick and Morty, as well as the co-creator of the show. So one of the voice actors I follow online, Brock Baker, did this, and I want to play this for you.
That's a good name.
Right?
I'll play this audio for you guys.
And Mark Hamill's going to do Rick, Morty, and the Joker simultaneously.
Yeah. Let me play this for you guys.
Rick and Morty, right? Did you get a chance to listen to those thousands of auditions yet? To replace Justin Roiland? I'm getting to it right now.
A few people at work say that I do a really good Rick and Morty. Here we go.
Oh, Morty, we gotta go back to the future, Morty. We gotta go back to the future 2, Morty. We gotta go back to the future 3, Morty. Oh, jeez, Rick. Oh, jeez.
Morty.
It's kind of Bobcat.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounded like a Bobcat Goldthwait thrown in.
The video's like a minute and a half long. But I don't want to play the whole thing, but
so what was the deal with this guy? What happened?
He got in trouble for domestic violence.
Oh no,
domestic abuse. And so
was he convicted or charged?
Yeah, I think he was. But
no tolerance for the.
When I first heard it, I was like, "Oh my god!" Now there's, and he immediately within a day of this announcement came out with this video. He actually posted on his thing saying, "Just imagine the voice directors getting and the producers getting all these submissions from random people on TikTok, with their terrible impressions of the character." That's why he did this, is because of that comment. But I said
he could make a fortune probably just posting videos of all the.
That's great.
All the.
I mean, he does a lot of great videos. Though some of the funnier ones he's done is where he will do the song All Stars in various character voices. In the most recent one,
that's a superpower.
Yeah, he did one with like all cartoon characters once, which was hilarious. And the one I watched recently, which I guess is like 3 or 4 years old now, but it was like all these sound likes that he can do. I don't want to say impressions because he legit sounds like these people. He did like Schwarzenegger and just all these different celebrity voices that he can like mimic.
Jesus,
it's really funny.
It's a good skill. It is.
I'm jealous of people that can do stuff like that. I always wanted to be able to do.
My buddy Max can.
Can you do a lot of different voices?
Yeah, it's great. And I'd always try to trick him with something. It's like, well, how about Bane singing Cabaret as Liza Minnelli?
What is your favorite impression impression that you do?
No, not me, my buddy Max.
Oh, I thought you said it was you.
No,
Okay.
I barely can sound like me.
Most days, yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess I could do, I could do Mel Blanc doing.
Nice.
Remember the time Bugs Bunny was dressed in a dress?
Great. No, that goes more. Because he went on a big, I was doing a lot of Jack Benny, but, and he was on this big Al Jolson kick, so he was Mel Blanc doing Al Jolson.
Oh my God.
Random. Oh my God. It was funny though.
Wow.
I laughed a lot.
Nice.
But yeah, if you guys don't follow Brock, definitely give him a look up on social media.
Well, I gotta start watching Rick and Morty.
Let's start with the first season.
Yeah, well, yeah, start at the beginning. How many seasons are there? Like 4?
Right now there's like 6, I think.
Oh, God
Man,
damn.
yeah, that's a lot.
And they're
That's gonna take a
contracted to do 10. So
What's that on? When is that?
it's on Adult Swim.
All right.
Cartoon
okay.
Network.
Yep.
You can find the older episodes, I think, on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're hearing
Binge watch-
about Brendan Smalls, right? Bring that guy back.
Oh my God, I would love. The
Yeah, Metalocalypse was one of the best things of all time.
problem is one of the guys who did some of the other voices passed away a few years ago.
Bummer.
Yeah,
Hamill's in there. That's a Mark Hamill, right?
Yeah, Mark Hamill did a lot of the governmental dudes on that.
Oh yes,
The doctors
and the
and shit.
lawyer. That's my bread and butter you're fucking with.
That guy was that Mark?
Yeah.
Oh wow, the lawyer guy. Oh God, he's so funny. He's like the most straight-laced looking dude until you piss him off.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's great.
It's one of those cartoons that if you're a huge metalhead, you will get every single joke because a lot of the jokes are like plays on like band names or singers, and a lot of the guest actors on the show are people from bands.
Nice.
Like the one that has the Succubus episode, that was Angela Gossow from Arch
Oh,
Enemy.
geez, that's cool.
Yeah, in the first 2 episodes had James Hetfield and Kurt Hammett.
Yeah, Kurt Hammett.
Yeah, from Metallica.
Nice.
Yeah. Great
All
show.
right. Cool, man.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else newsworthy?
Beyond that, the George Santos, there's a bunch of videos of people comparing George Santos to the character that John Lovitz did on SNL, where he's like the compulsive liar.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's the ticket.
Yeah.
And so much so that John Lovitz went on the Tonight Show as George Santos.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's great.
Doing that.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
heard that Santos actually taught Jesus how to walk on water, so I don't know.
And just when is enough?
I know.
You know what I mean? It's like at some
Once
point,
you're caught,
well,
maybe you
now,
should
yeah.
just give up. I mean, really.
Don't he claim to make these own loans to his campaign?
I think
And
he's
that's
gonna get
simply not
popped
true,
for
right?
that,
How is that not?
right?
Because that seems like fraud to me. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out he didn't give those loans.
No, he
like
didn't.
$500K or
Yeah,
something, right?
5 and 1. I
So
think.
where
Yeah.
did that money come
If
from?
it existed
right?
at all, he
Oh,
might
it's
just been
true.
lying to say
Yeah.
because people do that all the time, try to get investors. Right?
Yeah.
I put up 500 of my own. What
Right.
What can you afford
What
to
can you
give?
do?
Yeah,
Right.
it's so dicky.
Well, here's a $1.09 that I got in my
Yeah,
pocket.
man. And I don't know, and I keep saying this, but it's a good job, man. It is. There's nothing wrong with being a U.S. congressperson.
Yeah,
it's a good
It's like
job.
$174K a year,
Yeah,
right?
and you get flown around.
Full
you get an
benefits
apartment.
forever.
Yeah.
Because once you're elected, I think those medical
I think,
benefits,
yeah,
they last forever.
I think in the House you have to be elected a couple times.
Okay.
But it's not much. Though the bar is pretty
Yeah,
low.
yeah.
It's a good job. And it's something you can't, and we can live our lives with dignity. It's okay, right? Don't feel shamed about that. And that is a job because it is historical. You know, it's got all the momentum of our country's history, etc. It can be a very dignified thing.
Yeah, and it looks great on a resume, right? So,
yeah.
Hey, Wall Street firm AYZ,
Sure. I got contacts. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, insider trading.
I know.
The whole gambit.
Yeah, but
Not a bad
again,
gig.
yeah. In all of every positive change we need to make in this country, and I understand there are some monumental ones,
Yeah.
but they're all within Constitution.
Yeah.
Right, honest. I've done the math on my invisible abacus. Right, we are choosing not to make those changes.
Yeah.
Right, so it's our own damn fault.
It really is.
Well,
Invisible abacus.
I think the only other thing I wanted to bring up is lots of new shows have been coming out this month. New TV shows are coming back. The one I've really enjoyed, there's only like 4 episodes so far, is the new Night Court. Have you guys seen it yet?
Yeah, you were talking about that last week.
Have not seen it at all yet.
It's funny, and it has a few warm and fuzzy moments too. Nice. But
the critique I heard of it, I think even today, was that it spends so much time looking inward, as opposed to bringing in those quirky characters that made the original Night Court so much.
Well, it's only 4 episodes in so far,
right? So
it's establishing characters. Yeah, they're establishing backstory for the characters we see as far as the regulars go.
And who's the gal that plays Harry's daughter?
Roush, the one who played Bernadette on Big Bang Theory.
That's right. Yeah. Big Bang Theory lady. The blonde gal, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Which I've never seen, but I know what you're talking about.
Melissa, I think is her first name.
What channel, for lack of a better term, is Night Court on?
I think it's NBC.
Oh, so it is on a channel.
It is. Yeah,
it's on NBC. Episode 4 came out.
I haven't made it that low on my cable dial for quite some time.
Well, I don't have cable right now, so everything I watch is either streaming or it's on over-the-air television.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
But it's on NBC. It's Melissa Roush plays Harry's daughter. John Larroquette is the only person who's returned thus far.
Yeah.
He's had a good career. He's worked pretty much
everybody else is
right?
people I don't recognize.
Can't think of anything else that he's been in.
He was one where he worked at a bus station. Like he was a recovering alcoholic, and
no, that was Ted Danson, wasn't it?
That was Becker, yeah.
Becker? Is that what you're
No, there's also Becker, but I think there was John Larroquette one.
John Larroquette, the last thing I saw him in was The Librarians, where he was like he replaced Bob Newhart as like the person who's in charge, or the person who's the caretaker of the library.
Sure, yeah.
Loved
Bob Newhart. Oh, yeah, no, he's a genius.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Loved him.
I guess he was in the last...
Both the original show and...
Yeah, no, he's wonderful. And his records. He was a really good comic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, kind of eggheady, but it's okay.
I'm looking at the last
George
few
Carlin,
things he's in.
Different delivery.
Right.
Yeah.
Was Larroquette a comedian?
No,
we're talking about Bob Newhart.
Oh, Newhart, yeah. Newhart, yeah. He had that bit where he was talking on the phone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And just like having you see one side of the conversation, and that's fucking hysterical. You've never seen him do
and
that.
It's like a 15-minute bit.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
There's a movie called Hell is for Heroes, I think, with Steve McQueen. It's a World War II, black and white.
Old movie,
really good movie, but he's in that as a really young guy, because this came out probably early 60s, something like that.
Okay, yeah, that explains the black and white.
60s, but yeah, he plays like a clerk guy that is not a frontline soldier kind of dude, but he plays a pretty good part in it. But it's just fun to see him as this like teenager, early 20s.
And he's in Catch-22 as Major.
He is in
where every time somebody knocks at the door, he climbs out the window.
Right, that's right.
Bob Newhart. He also had a reoccurring character on Big Bang Theory. He was like that version, the show's version of Mr. Wizard. It was like Sheldon's the reason Sheldon became a physicist.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. And so there's a few episodes where Sheldon goes to break his restraining order to talk to the guy.
Yeah.
And he also shows up in Sheldon's dreams a few times. He's like, I don't know why I'm here in your dream, but you have to talk to me about something. So
yeah. I've not watched any Big Bang Theory.
No, people really like it though.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's a lot of people that think it's pandering and it's stupid, but I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, there's episodes that are terrible, but overall I enjoy the show.
All right. Yeah, it might be one of those take a week off and stream something. I don't know.
Just start at the beginning, like anything else, but just don't go in halfway, because honestly, the better episodes are in the first 2 2 or 3 seasons back when all of them were single.
Yeah.
And when it became all of them had like significant others or whatever, that's when
Don't jump the shark, people.
Yeah,
Don't jump the shark.
maybe because I'm a single guy, I don't really get a lot of the couple humor. So
I don't get that reference because I wanted to see Fonzie jump the sharks.
Yeah, I think that's just where they're it just went too far. It's a dude at a cafe, right?
Wearing a leather jacket.
Well, no, there's legit an episode where he jumps a shark.
I know.
And that's kind of the end of the.
That's why they call it that, because they were trying to. It was a big spectacle. I remember the advertisements for this. Tune in next week when Fonzie jumps a shark in the water or whatever, and it was this huge build up to this just.
Totally. Like you shot JR,
Yeah. I mean, those are the days when we were fascinated by Evel Knievel, right?
Yeah. And sharks and quicksand and getting stuck in a sauna.
I think they tried to do the Cousin Oliver thing where they added a kid to the show, but that didn't work. So they said, you know what, we're gonna take Fonzie and have him do a death-defying feat.
Yeah. And now Marshall's still working though, right? Gary.
No, he's passed away a few years ago.
I mean, he affected.
But yeah, he did a lot of great
decades.
Yeah. But
I love it when they call it shark-infested waters. You mean where they live?
Yeah. Like cities are people infested. It's like, what the fuck?
What was the blonde guy that ended up? He's like the show killer, right? The Ted something. He was on Happy Days and the last season. He was on Married with Children.
Oh yeah.
In the last couple seasons,
he was a jock in Revenge of the Nerds.
Right, yeah, Ted something, but he's like the show killer, right? Once the show jumps the shark,
he shows up,
they bring him in, and it's like the death knell, right?
It was either him or Robbie Riss would show up. You're like, oh fuck, Cousin Oliver's here.
Man, see the Scrappy Doo of.
Oh yes, it's funny. Is actually I
bring in the young kids.
Effect.
I actually became Facebook friends with Robbie Riss for a while. He was actually a pretty nice dude, but he's a grumpy old man. He just fucking pissed off about a bunch of shit. I brought up, what was it? I shared a thing about the Beatles. He goes, that band is a bunch of bullshit. Fuck those guys. I'm like, really?
I like this guy already.
And he's like, well, really? What do you hate about the Beatles? He's like, man, they were the 60s version of Justin Bieber.
Well, they were the original boy band, right?
Yeah.
Well, kind
pop.
of.
The pop sound,
I think the Monkees were the first boy band because they were manufactured. The Beatles knew each other.
I was like, if you I said to him, I was like, wait a minute, I thought that was the Monkees.
Yeah, I would say. But they came about at the right time, just like Elvis did.
Yeah.
Television and the hype machine, nationwide broadcast. And remember, everything was localized before.
Right.
But then it was all of a sudden nationwide and international. They had a cable across the ocean. They could talk on the phone.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
When HDTV bought the Brady house and they were going to renovate it,
I saw that.
I watched it. I was like, this is a great show. They took the external house they used for the opening shot of the show, and then gutted the inside and made the inside look like the set.
Oh,
right. And it was hard to do because the inside of the house wasn't actually how it was.
Yeah,
right?
the house on the show was a double layer house. The house in real life was a rambler, so they had to.
Yeah, don't they come downstairs in the?
They do. Yeah. But they tried to. They did the bedrooms and stuff.
Yeah. So what they did was they had a gigantic backyard. So they bogarted most of the backyard to make the internal side of the house.
Sure.
So they made the bedrooms upstairs. They made the staircase and everything. The staircase is actually a couple steps short of the real thing, but it looks like the normal.
That was a swanky house.
Yeah,
on the show,
kind of a mid-century.
And if you've never, I think
but it was new, right? They lived in a new.
If you haven't seen that
I can't see the Brady Bunch.
The HD TV show where they did this, it's on the Discovery Plus. So if you want to see it, you can check it out there. But I recommend checking it out because it was really cool to watch because the kids from the Brady Bunch, they're all like in their late 50s and 60s now, but they helped renovate the house.
Yeah.
And they went looking for all the knick-knacky things that were in every room.
That's right. So they actually went to like antique shops, and flea markets and stuff, trying to find like some.
It was also some of it was also like fan source and stuff.
Fan source, yeah.
The fan sourcing was cool because they had like a online forum or blog or whatever, and hey, we're looking for this. Does anybody know where they can find this?
Here's the giraffe lamp from the girls' bedroom. or something
the all the decorations. A lot of the wallpaper stuff was they had to recreate.
They actually printed the wallpaper with giant printers,
massive
which
printers,
was crazy. But
they got high. They try to get like really high quality photos of like the thing, and then somebody would recreate it by hand by looking at the old photo and recreate the whole thing. And it was I actually kind of want to rewatch it now.
Yeah, did they put it on the market after that?
Religion.
No. HGTV still owns the house. In fact, when I went to LA or Southern California last year or year before, I stopped by there like 8 o'clock at night, so it was dark as shit. And
do they do tours or something?
I think they do during the day.
The Goonie House.
Speaking of the Goonie House, or did we talk about this last week? I can't remember.
No, somebody bought it though, right?
Yeah.
Real recently, somebody bought the Goonie House.
A young couple,
and they're like fans. Yeah. So one of the neighbors was like, Goonies not welcome. Big sign on their house.
Oh no!
Big huge sign. Goonies not welcome. Two houses away from the actual Goonie house, and then the new owners of the Goonie house put, "Hey you guys, Goonies welcome" on their house. Well, and the guy in between the two houses says, "Don't listen to Karen."
Nice. Nice.
So funny.
Yeah. All right.
Speaking of television, anybody seen the new Rest of Us or the?
I watched the first episode.
I watched the first one.
And what's he called again? Not Left 4 Dead.
No, it's Rest of Us.
The Last of Us.
Last of Us.
That's what it was.
Yeah, the Something of Us. I watched it. I'm like, I've never played the game, so I really don't care.
I'm a big fan of zombie and post-apocalyptic fiction and all that stuff.
I kind of burnt out. I didn't watch like the last 3 seasons of The Walking Dead. I kind of just like, okay, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I had to finish it off, and whatever. But loved the first like 3 or 4 seasons of The Walking Dead.
Did they go full?
Well, there was like literally like 2 people left of the original cast, and that's when I stopped.
Well, I read the comics, so I was like, oh my god! And then they recreated stuff, and end of season 2 or something when they find the prison. I'm like, oh my god! I'm so excited.
The guy who played Abraham, I think is his name, the redheaded dude.
Yeah.
He actually recently got cast to play Lex Luthor in the Superman and Lois show on the CW.
Yeah,
I can totally see him playing Luthor.
I cannot, but
well, if you shave his head and get rid of the beard that he had.
Hey, Mr. Luthor.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I'm looking forward to seeing. I mean, I didn't dislike the other version of the CW Lex, but
rock on.
What was it?
I can't remember. Yeah,
it was it's the guy who played Ducky on the.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
Guy.
Yeah.
John Hughes movie.
Yeah.
I
think of his name. 3 men and a
2.5 Men.
Baby.
2.5 Men. Yeah. It was the mousy one that wanted to live at his rich brother's house.
I can't think of his name, but
I could look. I kind of have my phone right here. John Cryer. There you go.
That's it.
John Cryer. He did a pretty good Lex. I'm surprised they didn't keep him, but I guess they wanted to, because apparently the CW's the Arrowverse, as they called it, because a lot of those shows kind of crossed over between one and the other. A lot of the same characters. Mm-hmm. The Superman and Lois show is now no longer part of that universe, and they're going to do their own thing.
Yeah, I don't know, but Last of Us, I enjoyed it. Thought it was pretty well done. It's got a great soundtrack, which I always look for.
Maybe I'll rewatch the first episode. It was like, okay, this is very similar to Walking Dead and maybe early years anyway.
Yeah, and it sort of feels real in the sense of if this really happened. what society would become, right? Pockets of civilization and how badly they suck. But I like the fact that it's going to be kind of like a Route 66 kind of show where they're on the road.
They've got a destination.
They've got a destination. He's got to transport this girl to some destination out west. They start off in Boston, I think.
Oh, okay.
And he's got to get, and they have adventures on the way, right? He's got to protect her and all that stuff. But I did see a funny meme where she's behind him and he's like looking around a wall and he's like, "Stay back, Grogu," and she's like, "What?"
That's funny.
I just thought it was good. But
here, hold the shiny thing. But no, I think the only other zombie shows that I watched any length of was iZombie, which supposedly in the story it takes place in Seattle. Oh. So that was one of the reasons why I started watching it. It's a dramedy. It's a drama and a comedy.
Okay.
And it's about this doctor who goes to like a party at Lake Washington and gets bit by a zombie during a party or whatever. And somebody gets infected and starts biting people at the
mayhem ensues.
Yeah, and then she wakes up, she's a zombie, and then she has to basically become the coroner's assistant because the only way to keep her from going full zombie is to eat brains.
Oh.
So.
Well, that'll do it.
And then the side effect of eating the brains is she started having like flashback memories of the people who died from a zombie kill.
What do you think brains taste like?
Gelatin.
Yeah, it's just fat. Now we've all had it.
I mean, that's what they made. They made the brains of the show out of like vegan gelatin.
Yeah, what is it at the taco truck?
The tripe or something.
No,
the
tripe's just
sweet bread.
It's not sweet cheese.
I would
sweet
like
bread.
Yeah, something like that.
Something squishy and kind of.
It's just not
my grandmother used to eat,
Yeah, no, grandparents ate
like liver. I think it'd be like raw liver.
Used to love mustard and liverwurst sandwiches until my mom told me what it was, and I'm like, God damn it, I wish I didn't know because these were good. Some onions.
And then because it's salt and fat, right? It's cheating, just like bologna or whatever else. It's totally cheating. It's like doing roids. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like if you put salt and fat in straw, it's fucking delicious.
The mayor has just compared liverwurst to steroids.
Because you make a fried bologna sandwich, people will swim through lava for a fried bologna sandwich, and it's not good.
Yeah, it's not at all.
It triggers all the right points in your brain. You're like,
it's must have. Would you call it nostalgia? Would it bring you back to your childhood?
Probably also. Me cleaning the pan.
Speaking of that, our bonus episode, which we'll do after this and it'll be available on the members only section is we're going to talk about our top 5 smells.
We should have a photo of like an 80s model wearing a members only jacket as like the title image of.
I thought about that.
Jeez. Yeah, remember members only.
Or just like or maybe just a close up of the logo on the shirt on the jacket.
That's great.
Members only,
because it gets you in everywhere, right? It's like I'm a fucking member.
I'm members only.
I don't know. I never really.
I think that's what they implied with those.
Back in the day of my early telephone technician things, is I could put a hard hat on, a yellow vest, and have my butt set, which is that test phone, that big red phone that you always see. Put that on my belt, and I could get into any building, anywhere. Just fucking. Gotta check the lines. Go ahead.
In the
it's backed by the classified stuff.
In the late 80s. In the late 80s, my sister's then boyfriend, his dad worked from the local Ma Bell company. Yeah. And he told me how to make the phones ring back to test it. And it was like, so anytime I went to the mall in Bellevue Square Mall, I would find one of the payphones and tell it to ring back and then walk away, and it would start ringing until someone picked it up and there would nobody be there.
So I used to work in downtown Seattle. I used to work at the Shucks Auto Supply, which is now O'Reilly's, if you want. But
Shucks, I forgot about
Shucks. Is not there anymore.
It's O'Reilly's.
But even O'Reilly's isn't there anymore. We were like the number 2 store, the number 2 Shucks store ever, right? That was our store number. But loved working there. It was right across the street from the Doghouse restaurant, which became the Hurricane. But the Doghouse was great. We would get lunch there because the waitresses would drop their cigarette ash into the burgers, and it gave it that smoky, that smoky flavor. Anyway, but there was a motel across the street, right next to the Doghouse, was actually the parking lot for the motel, and there was a big wall for some reason. There's like this facade wall, and on the other side of that facade wall there was a payphone. Well, one day I was really bored, and I ran over and I got the phone number off of the payphone, and back at the office at the shop I could call that phone from the Shucks, looking through the window to the payphone, to the back of the payphone. And I would see somebody walking down the street, and I would dial it and just be ready for them. A lot of times they wouldn't pick it up, but they could be like, "This is a payphone," and then hang up real quick, right? But as they would walk by, sometimes they'd answer the phone and be like, "Hello?" I'd be like, "Hey, how's it going?" And they'd be like, "This is a payphone, right?" And I'd be like, "No, I'm actually the payphone. I'm just calling out to say hi and have a great day," stuff like that. And they'd be like, "I'm calling the police," and like, "Call the friggin' police," whatever.
That's so
much fun. Those were the days. Man.
Oh man, in the days before caller ID, used to make prank phone calls and stuff. One of my favorite ones when I was like 12 was calling Kentucky Fried Chicken, and whenever a female member of the restaurant would answer and say, "Hey, how big are your breasts?" And the best answer I ever got was bigger than yours.
My brother and I used to do prank calls, and we would call, and people in Seattle area would hopefully know this one because this was in the late 80s, right? We would call somebody and say, "Hi, sir, this is Cairo Cash Call. Are you ready to win some money today?" And they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, sure." And be like, "Okay, here's your question. Who's a better actor, Wayne Cody or John Wayne?" And of course, whoever they pick would be like, "Oh no, sorry sir, that's the wrong answer." Click.
Oh man,
do you remember Wayne Cody?
Oh yeah,
yeah, he was a large guy. He was super nice. Yeah, I think I met him once too. Yeah. He actually, no, I think he was
great radio voice.
I think he was out of the. What was the guy who did the before it was oh God, Geraldo, that style of talk show. We had a local guy. Remember that guy?
I don't remember a local one.
There was a
Scandal TV.
He would like, the hard-hitting questions kind of guy, and the town meeting is what it was called.
Oh,
is that
yes.
Ross Schaefer?
Ross was no. Schaefer was the almost live. Yeah.
Right.
But I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
But I remember going to one of those
afternoon.
Yeah, and it was like Donahue, or
local Donahue.
Yeah. And people are like, "Donahue, what the fuck is that?" I think what was the guy who
Sally Jesse Raphael?
Or no, I'm thinking of the guy
Jerry Springer.
That's one thing.
Springer went way beyond.
Yeah.
Maury Dotson or Maury Povich.
Right? Yeah.
You are not the father.
But I remember going to one that they were supposed to have Brian Bosworth at.
The Boz?
Yeah, and so. Are you gonna stop it there? I was gonna let it go.
It's gonna beep at us if I don't. So.
Okay. Well, it was So we were all. The place was packed. They did it at the Seattle Center in one of the conference rooms.
Yeah.
Because it was a bigger place than the studio they normally do it at, and we sat there for like easily a couple hours. I felt like it was much longer because I was like 8 at the time, and it was supposed to be this huge interview with Brian Bosworth because this is right after he got signed to this.
Him.
They got drafted. Then he
machine.
And then he never played. He played one game, was it, or was it?
No, he played a whole season and a half or something until and he knew he was injured.
He destroyed his leg or something, but
it's too much performance enhancing, correct?
he had that power mullet. That's all I remember.
Yes, and the sunglasses.
He sold himself.
Dude,
he really did.
He straight up looked like Ivan Drago, you know.
Right. Yeah.
That massive.
And remember, Bo Jackson ran
his ass over. Yeah, it was awesome. So years ago, I grew up on Capitol Hill. We had a little local pharmacy called Benson Pharmacy, and George Benson ran it, and he was part of the city council for a while.
New age music,
right? We got you new age music.
George Benson.
Oh, George Benson. Yes.
I can pull up some new age shit.
But his wife was super nice, and she really liked us. Well, this was the place we would take our film to get developed as well. And she went through our photos, and she found one of me and my buddy, and I had glasses on, and my hair was kind of spiked up because I'd been swimming or something. But she's like, "Can I print an extra one of these and put it in a frame here?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And you kind of look like the boss. So I ended up being a fake Brian Bosworth model at Benson Pharmacy on Capitol Hill, which is no longer there. I think it's like a friggin', I don't know, Zumba class or something now.
That's great, though.
But I was up there, man. That was my 15 minutes of modeling fame.
So if you're mistaken for the boss, somebody shouldn't be embarrassed if they mistake you for the boss.
Well, it was the sunglasses and the spiky blonde.
Yeah.
I didn't have the...
You did look like you're roided.
I didn't have the roid body, but, you know.
You didn't have the...
You get a lot of power out of 1 inch, I know that.
I do get a lot of power out of 1 inch, but, you know.
I don't know. I got that clip off of Conan O'Brien. It's like, that's fucking hilarious. I need to make that as a button. And then, of course, you know...
And a button it is.
It's going to stay there, unless you guys tell me to get rid of it.
Well, guys, I don't know. I think we've sort of got down to about
an hour and 29 minutes.
So, all right. Wrap
anything you guys have that you found this week that was positive, or a message that you want to give out, or any fun stuff we can leave our fabulous listeners with?
I would recommend a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. It's a great book. It's about perception and not comparing yourself to other people.
That's a dangerous, slippery slope.
Yeah. It's a good book. I actually have the audiobook because I fall asleep after like a page and a half of reading, so.
And that's when the ghosts come out, right?
Oh, yeah. Don't give a fuck.
That's a cool ghost. Like, you know what, ghost? You're right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I totally agree with that sentiment. Don't, be your own self.
Don't compare yourself to other people, period.
It's not worth it.
And it's simply false. You're tricking yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we can never truly understand someone's motivations. We can, to some extent.
And you don't know what they're thinking about as far as when they're doing those things. They could have their own insecurities as why they're as successful as they are because they're comparing themselves to somebody else.
Yeah.
One of the things in the book that he talks about is like there was a documentary that was made back in 2002, 2003. It was some kind of monster with Metallica. It was basically the making of their worst album ever. It was during a time when James went to rehab and Jason left the band and everything else. So in the middle of all that, they all went to therapy. And in that one of the therapy sessions, Dave Mustaine shows up, and because he was the original guitar player, and he was in the therapy session. He basically says, since I've been kicked out of the band, I've been trying to be as good, if not better, than you guys, but I'm always number 2. Never mind that he's got platinum fucking records and making millions of dollars. He still sees himself second to Metallica.
Yeah.
And I mean, not to...
Well, album sales, he probably...
I'm sure he is.
Yeah, I mean...
He's a better guitar player than anybody.
Yeah,
and
I agree. I mean, I like
guitar player.
Yeah.
I like the guys in Metallica. They're nice. They were nice to talk to. But yeah, Mustaine's a much better guitar player.
And Mustaine always says, Hammett sort of lucked out walking into all these riffs and style that he created, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, Hammett's not a bad guitar.
No. Yeah, absolutely.
No, he's. I'm not saying that Hammett is bad at all, but he's. I think Mustaine is definitely a better guitar player.
No, I'd say without a doubt. But I mean, and that's the thing. Better's a funny statement.
It's subjective. It's don't compare. It kind of falls in line with the don't compare yourself to other people. Just because someone says this person is better.
Yeah.
That's that one person's opinion.
I know it is.
It's subjective.
So make your own opinion.
Is better. Yeah.
I mean, what I would suggest is, if as far as music goes, if you're comparing musicians, that's silly. But listen to all of it. Go both sides. Listen to both sides and make your own opinion.
Absolutely. That's it.
That's it.
Make your own opinion.
Right on.
Well, I think we're going to end probably right here. We're going to continue, and you can find the continuation again at the bonus content at rr-town.podcast.com, I should say.
Yeah.
We're easy to find.
Yeah.
Jump on, join it.
Links are on the Facebook page, if nothing else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then on that note,
geez, thank you for being here, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
And that's done recording.
All right.